Good morning to you and welcome to Camnet Breakfast on Not Just Another Channel, Camnet TV. I'm your host. My name is Precious Mzea Sakaleji, and yes, of course, I am not alone. I'm always with my partner in crime, Sarah Chandamwanga. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine. Why? What's wrong? What's going on, Sarah?
Nothing.
Sarah, what's going on?
Precious, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to all the viewers.
I'm trying my best to behave.
Just please behave.
Okay.
Please behave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our topic of discussion for today is something that I feel should be talked about more often, and which is Ichitundu, tribe, mother tongue, native language, native tribe. I've forgotten the other term for it. Can you speak your mother tongue?
Yeah, of course. I can.
Oh, it's Bemba.
It's Bemba, of course.
But anyway, it's a good thing because not every Bemba can speak Bemba.
Bemba, true.
And
okay, there are two types of Bemba, we would say.
there's Bemba and Lala.
No.
There's Bemba, the common Bemba.
From the Copper Belt, then also Bemba from
Luapula.
Yes. So you would tell to say this person is coming from this side. This person is coming from this side because of how they
Pronounce
have simplified
certain-
the
The one from Copper Belt. Which one is more heavier? The one from the Copper Belt or from the one from Luapula? Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Then there's Lala. Then there's Lamba.
Lamba. How do this? Okay.
I don't know how they speak Lamba.
I don't know. Maybe, but their accent is something.
They have yes, Lala and Lamba has a certain accent,
Yes.
and it sounds in a certain way. It's like with us. Well, apart from Lunda, Luvale, Kaonde, Kachokwe, there's Lunda, then there's a certain Lunda. There are like two types as well. There's the heavy one, and there's the simple one that some of us know.
Do
The
you
town
know
children.
as well?
Yes.
We can conversate, right?
What do you want me to say?
And I tell the viewers to stick to. Okay, just inform the viewers to share the broadcast.
No, that's
on
too
Facebook.
strong. That's too strong.
You said you know your mother tongue.
Yeah, I know, but there are just certain words that I don't know in my mother tongue, like TV.
As a proud Bemba, let me go ahead.
Okay.
Mwashuka Shankwai, if we for Camnet TV, kono only kumulabasa. That's.
I knew it.
You knew it.
I knew you were gonna mess up at some point.
You know, Bemba, okay, Bemba is good. Bemba is, but it's hard to fix certain words.
But I can conversate. I can understand Lunda, and I can speak. I can't say fluent because there's some words that I don't know.
Okay.
I know what TV is in our language, but it has a very funny. I'll come and ask the people that are coming. It has a very funny sound.
But you do speak Bemba, Precious.
Ndeshakwe chivembe but chiromfika kwati chakutola tola.
But
But tinalanda conversation
see
chivembe.
Chivemba nshai.
Umulawa sana unja wakali.
Chitonshi ya TV.
Oh, chitonshi umulawa sana.
Mulabasa, that's a station.
Oh, damn.
I'm not wrong.
Anyway, that is our conversation for the day. We're trying to. I haven't said anything in Lunde. Jina yami yami Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Hanuchudi here Camnet TV. Chinakuhembera amvwali kwenza na
Gone wrong.
Chinakuhembera amvwali kwenza na kutuleja hadin sangu ya I don't know what tribe is.
Yeah, I don't
In
understand.
Lunda. At least I can converse.
Yeah, true.
Unakuya kudihi is where you going. Unakuinza mpinjini. What time are you coming? Untemesheli phone. I don't know what phone is in Lunda.
How many
but
languages do
temesheli
you know?
is calling.
How many languages do you know? Okay.
I can speak Bemba, not fluent. I can speak Nyanja fluently. I can speak Lunda and conversate. I listen to a bit of Tonga and speak a bit. Yeah, I think that's like 4.
For me, I think I can speak La Kaonde, but not fluent as well. Nyanja, hey, I'm bad. But I'm trying. Mima kamba chinyanja in
Your Nyanja is like Amos is Bemba.
You say that last time.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Amos is Bemba, you can run away.
But it's not that bad.
Uko for Amos and the Bemba. But anyways, that's our conversation for today. Can your children speak their mother tongue? You can call us on 0968-675-273, or you can come to our Facebook platform. We've posted the conversation there, and then you can comment, and then we can get the conversation going. We'll be having people from, I feel like we should have this in episodes, like where we have the Bembas, the Lozis, and Tonga. It should be like in series, So today I had an easy access to the Lunda speaking people. That's from the Northwestern Province, that will just come and highlight more on our conversation of the day. But remember that we'd love to hear your views and opinion as well. And also if there's any story or stories that made headlines in the course of the week, you can call us and let us discuss on that. But quickly, before we steal much of your time, let's get into our first conversation of the day, and which is the Health Corner.
Good morning. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ, and I'm working in University Teaching Hospital as a general surgeon. It's wonderful to have you back again. We have been talking about burns in the last 3 days. We have talked about introduction, we've talked about the causes of burns, we've talked about the symptoms of burns, we have talked about the treatment of burns. Burns, it's a very, very important topic. As I mentioned earlier on, that we have a lot of children, a lot of adults that we have been receiving who are getting burned, especially in the cold season. They are getting burned more, and they are coming to our healthcare. And some of them were losing them, some of them were managing to get them back into their life, though not in full form. So when you are burned, it actually changes your life completely. Remember that your whole life changes. You end up having scars, and you start to feel different from the other people around you. You start to feel depressed, you start to feel sad, you start to feel, why me? But some of these things can be avoided, or especially your children. Imagine a child of yours who has been playing around, who has been going to school, suddenly gets burned and loses all the functions of going to school, being happy again. He's always devastated. He or she is always devastated, crying, irritable, has lost hopes. So we can all avoid by simple steps, by making sure that we are always looking after our children and ourselves. So today we are going to talk about complications of burns. You know, burns has been a very devastating injury worldwide, and a lot of people suffer from it. Complications take place. For example, you get burned. One of the complications are you get big scars. You know, you get big scars. Sometimes you lose function in that hand or leg. That makes your life so difficult for you. Remember that we all want to work, we all want to play, we all want to go to school, we all want to be active, but because you've been burnt before and you cannot move one part of your body, that makes your life very, very difficult. And when you're burnt severely, some of the things which you go through are like your heart starts to fail because you've been burnt so badly. You get severe infection, you get so bad infection, serious infections, that you may not even overcome them. Sometimes we lose those people who actually get deep burns. Some of the complications are inhalation burns. For example, you were in a house and you are sleeping with a candle, which is quite common, and the candle falls on your blanket and you get burnt totally, which you get actually more than 50% burns in your body. So in those cases, you find that you you actually inhaled so much of smoke into your lungs that your lungs are now failing, and they are causing so much of difficulties for you to breathe. You end up being in ICU because you are failing to breathe. We need to help you to breathe, you know. So those are complications of getting burns. Some of the burns are also severe anemia. You get loss of blood as you get burned. Remember that those burns have to be always cleaned. Sometimes they have to be taken to theater for cleaning because you're so much in pain. So you find that those burns become so, as you're cleaning those burns, you're making some bleeding to occur. So imagine every day you're bleeding from those burns. You end up with low blood hemoglobin level, then you need to be transfused. Then nutritional support. You find that especially in low income places, you find that you don't have proper nutritional support. You can't afford what needs to be taken for you to get back into your full form. So you find your nutritional support is very, very, very poor, and you end up getting malnourished because of the same burns. So it's also one of the complications of burns. Then you find that you get severe contractures, those contractures where you can't completely function one part of your body because of a really hard scar that has been formed. So even in those situations, you find that if you're a person who has been working and you've been using your right hand all the time, and imagine that your right hand has become stiff and you cannot work anymore, that becomes very, very devastating, very, very difficult, and it makes our environment very, very difficult. Sometimes you find that you've been electrocuted. You find your organs have been burnt, and your liver, your stomach have been burnt because of the same electrical shock. Those are very, very difficult burns to handle. So all these things can be avoided. All these things can be avoided just by simple precautions. Just ensure that wherever you are, however you are, you make sure you are protected and you're keeping your children protected as well, because it becomes very, very difficult. And some of the other complications are, you find that your burns are so severe that you will need that part of your body to be cut off completely. So those are also complications of burns. So all these complications of burns can be avoided just by our simple steps. Let's ensure that we help one another not to go into these things. We also have lots of accidents that take place, and you find that people also get burned. They are called friction burns. They also get burned severely. They get burned, they lose their limbs, they lose a part of the body, which is also very, very difficult and devastating for our people in our environment. We understand that in the low, especially in the low income families, you find that people can't afford to get a proper stove, and they can't manage to pay a lot of electricity bills. So you find that they end up using braziers. So those braziers are quite, they are quite dangerous especially for children, because you find that you may be cooking and you leave even for 10 minutes, you find a child just finds himself into that pot and completely burned. And you come to our hospital, we do everything for you. Sometimes we lose, every year we are losing a lot of children with these burns, with these deep burns. So these things can simply be avoided. Make sure that when you're cooking in a brazier or something, make sure that you keep away from children, and even yourself, make sure that you should be careful. So these are basically the complications of burns. Sometimes you also have what we call kidney failure, because you've been burned so severely. You are becoming so dehydrated, so much of fluid is coming out from your body because you've been burned, and there's so much fluid you're losing out. So you find that your kidneys also start to dysfunction. They start to lose their function and they end up failing, which is also devastating for you to have kidney failure because of the same burns. then uh, burns on the face are so devastating because you have lost the look of yourself. Everybody has the right to look beautiful. Everyone has the right to look wonderful, dress up wonderful. This is what we all want. But because of getting burned, you find that sometimes your face, your ears, your nose, everything gets completely distracted, and sometimes you may find that they can never be fixed because some injuries are so deep that there is nothing much that can be done. So all these things, like I said, can always be avoided. So let's ensure that we avoid injuries to ourselves and to our loved ones. My name's Dr. Rafat Basit Masa. I'm coming from Medical Women's Association of Zambia, MWAZ. Please stay tuned and keep watching Camnet, because every day when you watch something, there's always something that you're always learning. You're learning a lot about healthcare, which we all need to know. They are going to prevent yourselves and your loved ones from getting injured, protect yourself from a lot of complications. Stay tuned with us with Camnet channel, because we'll be every day talking about something different with our channel. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. I hope you have learned one or two things concerning the complications of the burns. She mentioned something to say burns, sometimes you get them through accidents, especially maybe car accidents, whereby you get to have an accident where the car maybe, gets to catch some fire. And also, we get to have burns in different ways. She also mentioned to say we have also records of those maybe using braziers, especially for the kids. You find that maybe they're playing around the brazier and then they get to burn themselves. So we just encourage you to stay away from such things. In case you see young children playing near fire, you can just stop them and put them aside, not to play near anything that can really bring harm to them. Sorry. Yeah, so Precious, what do you understand by burns, first of all, before we go to...
I love being in the kitchen, okay? And out of 10, I can count how many times I've actually burnt myself, because I am very cautious when I am cooking. And I feel like burns don't just come around if you're using a brazier, even when you're using a stove, even when you're just innocently cooking. There are times when the oil is too hot and then you don't notice that, and then you put your food on a pan or in a pot, and then the hot cooking oil splashes, and then you find that you have some tiny burns. And also there are times when you're cooking in shima, okay, you can get such burns as well, and they can actually be severe at some point, in case porridge yakwitkira. So it's not only necessarily about children that might get burnt or might have accidents when it comes to burning. Even as an elderly person, it might be you are putting hot water, for those that boil water, on the brazier. While you're trying to get it to go to the bathroom, you accidentally exactly, or hit into something, and then it falls on your body. So we're talking about different types of burns and how you can take care of them and how you can actually avoid them. So I feel we should just be cautious when you're dealing with hot things. It can even be, doesn't even necessarily have to be food or water. It can even be an iron, okay? You will accidentally, for those that are easily distracted, your phone rings and you're holding an iron, and then it just flips, or maybe not to kwaska iron. Well, I've seen that comedy before where someone actually picks up the iron and avika kumati because of distraction. So there's so many ways that we can have fire accidents. So we're just hoping that you can be cautious when you're around certain hot things.
You know, there's certain times whereby maybe you burn yourself from home, right? Yeah, then I was advised, there was a time I burnt myself, to get soap. and apply the
soil as in
soap.
Soap, like bathing soap.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Then you apply where the burn is.
Others say butter.
Yes.
Others say break an egg and then you.
But I think for soap it works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And also there's this scar that burns leave. I actually have a scar. I was burnt when I was really a child because of popcorn. So my nanny then had popped some corn, and then I think she had gone out to get something. So me trying to reach out for the pan where and it was very hot. So that's how I burnt myself.
You still have it?
I still have a scar, and it's very visible. Okay, so they leave scars, but there are some ways you can actually prevent the scars when you are burnt. So there's some others. It's some sort of cream that you apply, but you cannot have access to certain things when the accident happens. So just do home remedies, like you said, soap. I don't know what type of soap it is, or butter, or an egg.
No, but for me it's Vertex.
There's that soap, Lifebuoy.
Lifebuoy. I saw it.
That's the best soap for newborn babies.
Yeah, it's the best. Like it's
like what Fiala is the best.
Anyways,
hope you've learned one or two things on how you can prevent burns, and also if someone is burnt while you are there, what you can do to make sure that you help them, and also the importance of taking them to the hospital if the burns are severe. Well, remember our topic of conversation for today is can your children speak their mother tongue? Okay, very, very important. I feel like we are at a time where they are a certain tribe, but they can't speak.
They speak Bemba.
Especially us, the millennials. I'm not even removing myself from the list.
You shouldn't.
Because I feel like way back, but
these days, at least
I have been there.
No, I haven't been there.
I have been there, and then typical me of being a Lusaka child when we went there. Short story. Typical me of being a Lusaka child when we went there. And then I think after 3 days, I stayed there for like 2 weeks. After 3 days, I went to see where they get the water that we drink.
Oh.
I didn't drink water for the next, I think that was 2 days, because I just kept it. But the thing is that where they were getting the water, they would boil the water and then put it in a container. But still, for me, they would boil the water for us, but for them, they would drink it like that.
Precious. So
But when I found out that, I couldn't get it off my mind. So I had issues drinking water for like 2 days. But it is fun. You would just be walking in the bush and you see a tortoise.
Yeah, it is fun.
A tortoise,
I
a
spent
turtle.
most of my childhood at the farm.
We're talking about the village.
Especially like farm.
Like where your grandmother from your mom's side or your dad's side are, like an actual village where you sleep in a hut.
As long as I went
and cook on firewood. And fetch water like 10 kilometers from where the houses are.
I shouldn't say anything. Should I say something?
And go to the farms and farm, and then you have blisters.
But I think I've been through that.
That's farm life. We're talking about the village.
Farm like when I'm a family mom. Even if she say this, I don't believe.
She mana tinzikumushi sharefa yokusamba.
Seriously? I'll tell her.
But it was fun where you had to go and bath from the stream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then fish, and then you catch some fish. It's actually a fun life. You should visit the village. So these are some of the things that you rarely hear us the millennials talk about. No, I have visited my mother's village or my father's village. I know how to speak my mother tongue and stuff like that. So I feel like, I don't know if it's how we the millennials are being brought up, but I feel it's one of the most important things. But sometimes around that hour,
definitely.
That's actually one of the main reasons why some people don't take.
Oh, but for me, I think okay. I was supposed to visit my dad's village. That was in 2014.
But what happened?
I had an exam, so dad left me. But he went with my younger siblings and my mom. In Nasha.
Warisha.
But next, you cover Xefia Pangoina.
Mulea?
I'm quiet.
Goodness.
Xefia.
Anyways, let's get into our next conversation of the day, which is the money market. The dollar has been making quite some noise. Definitely. With the kwacha. The kwacha is making quite enough noise. And let's see how the money market looks like as of today, considering the fact that everybody is talking about the kwacha appreciating. So the euro is buying at 15 kwacha 0.29 ngwe and selling at 15 kwacha 0.59 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 17 kwacha 0.66 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha. The United States dollar is buying at 15 kwacha 0.29 ngwe and selling at 15 kwacha 0.59 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha is buying at 1 kwacha and selling at 1 kwacha. South African rand is actually buying at 89 ngwe and selling at 19 ngwe. That is your foreign exchange rate in the money market as of today, the 3rd of September 2022. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to our topic of today.
Of discussion. Yes. Zooming into the headlines, one of the things that caught my attention is finally Zambia was given the IMF. Do you know what IMF stands for? What does IMF stand for?
I think somebody should drop a comment on Facebook.
International Monetary Fund.
Funds.
We shook off a fund, dear class. International Monetary Fund. And it stands at 1.3 billion United States dollar, which will be paid back in a period of 10 years without interest. That is one of the greatest news the country has received in a very long time, apart from the kwacha appreciating on the foreign market. And also another thing that caught my attention in the course of the week is the drop in fuel prices. Fuel pump prices were dropped effective 1st September 2022. But one thing I've noticed is that fuel prices have dropped twice, but the bus fares are still the same. So we're hoping that that can be sorted out as soon as possible. Another thing that caught our attention in the course of the week is that of Mr. Bowman Lusambo and Joe Malanji, former Kwacha and former Kavushin Kwacha constituency member of parliament respectively, that have been going back and forth with the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and also different emotions and different opinions have been shared during this fight between Bowman Lusambo and Mr. Joe Malanji, why their nominations were refused, why they were denied to file in their nominations during the by-elections nominations. Now, the reason for ECZ declining their nomination is because they are the reason why the by-elections are currently happening. So they're saying, no, we're eligible to actually run this election, so allow us to file in our nominations. But then the Electoral Commission of Zambia has just put their foot down and they're saying you can't. So we're waiting for a ruling which will be set for on the 7th of September 2022 to determine whether Mr. Joe Malanji and Bowman Lusambo are eligible to run to participate in the coming by-elections. So right about now, let's quickly get into our IMF story. Then afterwards, we'll have how it has been back and forth with Mr. Bowman Lusambo and Joe Malanji. Then we'll join you on the other side. Good morning.
The debate on whether Zambia will successfully acquire an IMF bailout package has been put to rest after the IMF board approved about 1.3 billion United States dollars 38 months ECF arrangement for Zambia to help restore macroeconomic stability and foster higher, more resilient and more inclusive growth. And the IMF resident representative Priha Sharma, who spoke at a meeting in Lusaka Thursday afternoon, has encouraged the Zambian government to continue implementing laws and regulations around government purchasing and pay more attention to transparency, spending and debt accumulation, as this will promote transparency so that it is clear for everyone how taxes are being spent.
And all of this should also help to address the economic challenges Zambia currently faces. with growth too low and poverty having increased in recent years. At the same time, past economic policies have led to a very rapid rise in debt, which was used to finance public investment, much of which was inefficient. And there was also excessive spending in other areas.
Meanwhile, Secretary to the Treasury Felix Nkulukusa took time to highlight some of the conditionalities of the bailout package.
And most of those are volunteers. Because of this program, there will be money released that will go towards the recruitment. This year, the minister talked about the numbers that we are recruiting. For you, for some of you that have read the medium-term expenditure framework, the green paper that we have already published, we are showing that we are again going to recruit another 15,000 employees in 2023. So we see that we are addressing that.
And the Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Denny Kadialia says 50% of the resources will go towards the national budget, while the other 50% will go towards the national reserves.
Now, under the program, what has been agreed is that 50% of the 1.3 billion that has been allocated will go towards budget support, and the other half will go towards meeting reserves.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Situmbe Komsokotwane says government is working at modalities to reintroduce taxes on the fuel sector.
But beyond that, mind you, is to a subsidy. It is to be removed, but we are creating conditions so that when we remove it, the pain of the consumers will not be too much.
Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
With only few days remaining till Kawushi and Kwacha constituency hold by-elections scheduled for the 15th of September 2022, the two former members of parliament for the respective constituencies have again rushed to the Lusaka High Court and sued the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Despite waiting upon the Constitutional Court's judgment to be delivered on the 7th of September 2022, former Kawushi MP Bowman Lusambo and his counterpart, former Kwacha MP Joseph Malanji, have petitioned the Electoral Commission of Zambia seeking that the court orders ECZ holds fresh nominations for the two constituencies after rejecting and declaring their nominations unsuccessful. On the 25th of August 2022, ECZ rejected the nomination papers of Mr. Malanji and Lusambo on the basis that they do not qualify to recontest the elections that were nullified by the Constitutional Court, citing Article 72(4) of the Constitution of Zambia Amended Act No. 2 of 2016. However, the two petitioners now want the Lusaka High Court to quash the said decision by ECZ on ground that it is illegal, procedurally improper, and it is therefore null and void. They also want a declaration from the court confirming that they are eligible to contest in the said by-election, adding that the decision by ECZ agents amounts to interpreting the Constitution, which is a prejudicial function and is in an excess of the powers given to ECZ under Section 4 of the Electoral Commission Act No. 25 of 2016. Mr. Malanji and Bowman Lusambo have further argued in their petition that ECZ, through its returning officer, has no powers to reject their nomination papers on the basis that their elections were nullified, stating that this action violates Article 72(2) of the Constitution. Meanwhile, on the 25th of August 2022, the Constitutional Court declined the two's plea to stay ECZ decision after their nomination papers were rejected, adding that the court will proceed to hear the case and pass judgment before the by-elections. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News. Government has come to the defense of the Electoral Commission of Zambia by submitting before the Constitutional Court that, contrary to the claims by former Kwacha MP Joseph Malanji and former Kabushi MP Bowman Lusambo, there was nothing unconstitutional or illegal about the Electoral Commission of Zambia giving advice to all aspiring candidates on guidelines to follow when filing for the nominations for the by-elections scheduled for the 15th of September 2022. Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha says the move by ECZ to reject the nomination papers for Mr. Lusambo and Malanji was done in the exercise of its constitutional mandate and should not be blamed. According to an affidavit in opposition, the Attorney General argues that Mr. Malanje and Lusambo have adopted a wrong procedure to move the court. This is in a case where Mr. Lusambo and Malanje have rushed to the Constitutional Court, claiming that the decision by ECZ to bar them from filing their nomination papers on the 25th of August 2022 is illegal and unconstitutional. Recently, the Constitutional Court dismissed the urgent application by former Patriotic Front Kabushi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo and his former Kwacha counterpart Joseph Malanje to stay the nominations ahead of the by-elections in the two constituencies. The court anchored its ruling on the premise that there is no prejudice that the two would suffer if the nominations are not stopped, thus setting a date for hearing of the substantive matter. Meanwhile, ECZ, through its acting Chief Electoral Officer Bob Musenga, has told the Constitutional Court that the Commission's media statement released on the 24th of August 2022 did not target the two individuals, but it was a guidance given to all aspiring candidates, adding that the Commission's statement was not illegal as alleged by the two, but it was an administrative function and that ECZ was bound by the constitutional provisions relating to nominations and decision of the court. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, welcome back. So that's what has been going on with the Electoral Commission of Zambia and Mr. Bowman Lusambo and Joe Malanje. So we will be having by-elections in Kabushi and Kwacha constituencies. And also that's also the story on the International Monetary Fund. And also we're expected to have more civil servants in the year 2023. So right about now, let's get into another story that caught our attention in the course of the week. And it's that of an 18-year-old young lady, juvenile, who decided after she left her abusive marriage to go back to school. So she's calling on well wishers that can help her get back to school. So she has a 2-year-old child, and I think we ran the story some time back where her 24-year-old husband burnt half of the house just because they had a marital dispute. So here it is.
After coming out of an abusive marriage a few weeks ago, an 18-year-old juvenile of Lusaka's Kanyama compound now seeks assistance from various stakeholders to help her go back to school. On the 18th of August 2022, the 18-year-old, whose name has been withheld for security concerns, appeared on Camnet TV narrating a predicament of how a 24-year-old husband identified as Norton Motoka burnt her clothes and that of their 2-year-old son in a fit of rage after she called it quit to their 3 years marriage due to domestic violence.
Police was wakambati afunika gwiriwe. Bamusakira kuri police so nongole ruswa pasakiriwe. Stiza kwana tabiro de muntu asakiriwe. Aveni beteze ambana kudara inamba kudara ndewe. Tize stats kambana so tabe kubeko neze peka report on police. Beze Syria chego kuti pena ngona kuri amami sineze peleka report bezipera chokula pongozi wanga but kwa kula pongozi wanga tikambo yambana pebezi ninyamukira wose.
Memory, not a real name, now wants to go back to school and better her life. She tells this reporter that she cannot write or read as she dropped out of school when she was only in grade 2. With the re-entry policy, she hopes to find herself in class.
Ni sinapunzirepo napera grade 2. Napera grade 2 sinapunzirepo school. Drama zinavuta zeben drama. Tu mpeke school au zinavuta vintu. Zeben drama. Peze kati nifuna punzira beve mami ben drama dadi wanzo zebepo gwira. Ndemwiti nankaliya so tabentu takulirana. Ndino pampesi kati na mita no mita. So hapa nibepo na idea ngwako school. Sinzo mduveranga sinzo munga ntandizirepo mwana wanga ni muno njeze ntandizire bajamuna wanga kuti ni dise mwana wanga step 1 kwatu ni socha abisa bimboya wa.
Despite having the burning desire of wanting to go back to school, the 18-year-old juvenile and her family says she needs aid from various stakeholders to finance her education. Her mother, who is a trader in the city of Lusaka, says she has no capacity to take care of her daughter and her grandson.
Angantandizire kunaini kusogolo skulu pena mwana futi afunika naive kwenda kuskulu so nibembanza kuti ngamtandizire ko mwana kuti angaende kuskulu pamodzi na amai vake so nipempha kule amenemo kuti mungamtandizire.
The sister's victim calls on kind-hearted members of the public to come to the aid of the family.
Bezonetera ripoti tawangasika panso cha beta kambisa anavasi anapafika pa extent kuti manje chinalangiza kuti angamupa setasara mulosi because ni mwana mungono ngo kuti apesike mu chikwati ni chifukwa chakuti becha mavuto ndiye analengesa kuti apesike mu after pesika na mimba so mwamuna ni uja ni type jama savage so parana bwa mumenya tikabotenda ku victim.
11 days passed and Norton Motoka is still on the run. The police have already launched a manhunt for him. After burning down all their household properties, he fled from the scene. Community members tried to apprehend him, but to no avail. Efforts to get a comment from Motoka's family proved futile by broadcast time. Camnet TV is keenly following this case. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, there you have it. You know, it's quite a good and very important decision that she has made to say she wants to go back to school.
Very brave.
It doesn't matter, not even the situation that happened, that she was married before, then she had to decide to say she wants to get into school. Yeah, it's a very good decision.
Yeah, I feel like she is one of the few that are taking advantage of the re-entry policy. That's if you have been married or have a child before, and you want to go back to school. Okay, so there's that re-entry policy. I feel like a lot of people should take advantage of that because it works at the goodness of the person that decides to take that move. But anyways, that is all that we had for you on zooming into the headlines. Right about now, let's get into our conversation of the day.
Yes, definitely.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about how we can, you know, okay, wait, before I go back to the topic. Precious.
Joining us on set is Mr. Clement Chipungu from Northwestern Culture Association, and we're just here to highlight more on our conversation for the day, which is can your children speak their mother tongue? Good morning, Mr. Clement. How are you?
Good morning, Precious. I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you. And good morning. Good morning, my dear. How are you today?
What's your tribe?
I'm Kikaon. I'm Kaonde.
Oh.
My mother, she's Lenje. I'm Kaonde. My father is Kaonde.
Mwauka biyepi.
Mwabuka biyepi.
Bulongo tubakani.
I like
it.
Why one? I don't even know what I'm going to. But anyways, let's quickly get into the conversation. Our first question would be, how important is a native language in a modern home?
Not only modern home, Precious. Culture is the fabric, is the program to each and every person. With a person without culture, they're nothing. And a culture is very important to each and every person, especially as African. We're brought up in a culture homes, and because of these colonizations, it has drifted us away. We think that when we start speaking English, that's the only way to do it. I tell you, speaking our mother tongue is very, very important in our lives. It has to be inculcated in our homes, in our children, within the siblings. If you do that, you're upholding the value, the fabric of family. And this is very important. We want to encourage a lot of people out there to speak this. Teach your children and speak that in your homes. A lot of people, they don't speak their traditional language, I mean their culture, their languages in their homes. It's very unfortunate. It's a sad story. If we cannot reverse it and look into it now, we'll destroy our Africa.
Okay, Mr. Chipungu, that's a very, very great point. We'll just take a quick short break, and then we'll be back with the conversation.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel.
Welcome back. In case you've just joining us, our conversation of the day, we're talking about our mother tongue. Can your children speak their mother tongue? And joining us is colleagues from the Northwestern Culture Association, and we were just having a discussion on how important it is for children to know their native tribe in a home. And Mr. Chipungu was just explaining to us how important that is and how he feels that nowadays it's rare that you actually find people that can fluently speak their mother tongue. And joining us on set is Madam Harriet. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
We were waiting for you. We waited the whole day.
I'm glad I'm here.
No, it's good to have you here. Now we'll throw the question to you. How important do you think mother tongue is in a home?
You see, our mother tongue carries all what we are. It carries our culture. It carries everything that we are. So it is very, very important that we teach our children our languages because it has everything in it that make who we are. So it is very, very important that as parents, we teach our children our mother tongue. Yes.
Now, you coming from an organization that is Northwestern Culture Association, why was the organization formed?
The organization was formed to look at a lot of things. One is to make sure that the people are united. It was formed also to make sure that the elderly people communicate all this culture that they have experienced to the younger ones, to make sure that these things continue, they don't break. Because, I mean, a people without culture, then they're dead people. So it was in that way, to make sure that all these things are being communicated from one generation to another. So as a cultural association, we looked at these things and then we said, how can these things be communicated properly? How can they be passed on properly to the next generation? So as an association, we looked at this and then said, obviously there should be some bodies that should be able to regulate this and to help make sure that people are working together in harmony, and all these things that relate to culture are being preserved. So it's very, very important, and then these associations, I think, are formed from that premise. Okay,
now you being a cultural association, I'm sure there are quite a number of challenges that you face, considering the fact that it's a non-governmental organization and most of the people that you're dealing with are the elderly. So what are some of the challenges that the organization faces?
There are several challenges that happen or that usually are experienced with the associations. As you've rightly put it, we are a non-profitable organizations, and so it's really difficult for us to, let's say, generate funds for programs that we need to do. You see, there are a lot of things that happen in these associations. Probably sometimes when government makes pronouncements, the associations sometimes take upon these activities to go and explain to the people in a way that they
can understand.
They can understand. Yeah. So you find that sometimes we are limited in terms of resources that we can use in terms of transport, in terms of generating materials, making them simple for people to understand. Sometimes government policies and other things that people need to understand, other trends that are happening for people to really buy. For example, there is an activity that is going on, the national census. So sometimes we take it upon ourselves as associations, cultural associations, to make sure that people buy into what government is trying to do and trying to communicate to the people. So you find that we have these challenges. Where do we get the resources? Where do we find this to do the activities that we need to do? So resources are mostly the major challenge.
The major challenge. Yes. I'm glad that you've mentioned something about funds and trying to hunt for resources. Now, I'll come to you, Mr. Chipungu. Since we're talking about how you're trying to raise funds, there's actually a fundraising dinner that's coming forth so that you can raise some resources for the activities that you've put forth. Can you just tell us more about that one?
Yeah. In addition to what my colleague Harriet has mentioned, that money is one of the major factor challenge which we are facing, but we are coming together as an individual, where we come together, we put our resources together so that we can foster unity within Northwestern Province. Look here, I'm Kaonde, she's Lunda, we've got Tulu Valleys, we want to come together. The most important thing is to promote unity within Northwestern Province. What are those what we are looking at it? We want development. We want to make sure that there's innovative ideas within the young people, old people, and everyone. This is not a generation where we need to lag behind. So this is the reason why we are coming together as a culture association to promote unity and economic development within our provinces. Yes, finances is one of those things which is a major challenge. This is the reason why we're going to have a joint fundraising dinner dance next week on 9th of September on Saturday. We are calling upon all the people, stakeholders out there, so that you come and understand where we come from Northwestern Province, especially for those who come from Northwestern Province. You've never had an opportunity where you come and mingle and understand where you're coming from, why this culture is like this.
Are you going to have those dances and those costumes? I think this one is a master tent.
A master tent. We are not going to wear
and the drums.
The drums, all those things. We've got our women folk who are able to showcase a lot of things, our kind of food when we're growing up. We used to eat on those things. So we're calling upon a lot of people out there to come and enjoy the dinner dance, enjoy fundraising dinner dance. Fortunately, the guest of honor will be the Republican president, who's going to come and grace this occasion, where ministers will be there, a lot of stakeholders will be there, and our area members of parliament will be there, and most of the chiefs will be there. So we're calling upon everyone to come and enjoy this fundraising dinner dance, which we're going to have. Okay, so now when we talk of fundraising, the first thing that comes to our mind is the funds. So when this money comes in, where is it going to be allocated? Do you have any specific projects that you're fundraising this money for? Yes, you want to come in?
Yes. First of all, I just want to add to what Clement said. You see, we are a unique province, you know, with so many people, but one, you know. Others speak Luvale, others speak Lunda, and others speak Kikaundi. But we are one people. We want to show the Zambians who we are and how united we are as a province. So that's why we are calling upon people to come for this dinner. So now, when we raise these funds, there are a lot of programs that go on. As you are aware that there are these ceremonies that take place. And so these funds are meant to support all those activities, the traditional ceremonies that are coming up in a few months to come, and others have already started happening. So we are fundraising for those kind of activities, and so many more. I think my colleague can come in.
Oh, okay. So now, before we let you go, if there's Mr. Chipungo, if there's someone that would want to be part of the fundraising dinner dance. And also it's good to mention that you have said there will be different chiefs, and also it's just because it was organized by the Northwestern Culture Association, that doesn't mean it's restricted to the Lunda, Luval, and the Kikau and the people. It's for everybody. For someone that is interested and would love to come, is there a contact? Is there a Facebook page that they can like? Or how can one communicate if they want to be part of the dinner dance fundraising?
Excellent. Yes, we have contact numbers. I'm one of
on the contact list?
The contact, yes. That's myself, Clement Chipungu. The contact number is 0977 798803. Or you can reach me or 0955 798803. And you can still reach with, she will tell you the number, Harriet, that people can get in touch with us. Yeah, so that they can come and participate of what's going on our joint fundraising dinner dance.
Oh, okay.
We are calling upon everyone. Come again, the platform.
I know there's a WhatsApp group.
There is a WhatsApp group.
I know there's a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, because there are people, maybe I would say any WhatsApp or Facebook page.
Yes, there are so many pages for the Northwestern, and we have posted all that information on the pages. For those that are looking out for tickets, you can contact Mr. Kamangala, Madam Rhoda Mbinga, Mr. Kamato, myself. So we all have these tickets and we are selling them out. So my number is 0977 715112. You can call on that number for the tickets.
All right, and I wanted to ask if there's someone that wants to join the Northwestern Cultural Association, how can they go about it? Do you have any specifications?
Everyone that wants to join is free. There are no specifications. Of course, there's the national committee that oversees all the activities that are voted in. Yeah, but everyone is free. There are no restrictions as long as you are Northwestern, as long as you want to feel part, even if you're not from Northwestern, everyone is welcome to join.
Okay, thank you so much for coming through. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have actually come to the dying minute of the show. So I would love to say thank you to everybody that found time to be glued to the TV screens while we're having this program. On behalf of me, Precious Mzea Sakaleji, Sarah Chandamvanga, Elijah Shifita, and Amos Lungo on the other side is good morning and pleasant viewing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.